Counselor Tahoe's body shook as he tried to stay calm while speaking to the human ambassador. All around them in the huge meeting room, 300 different alien species watched silently. Above them floated a glowing image of Earth's military bases. "Humans have grown too powerful," Tahoe said through his translator, which changed his clicking sounds into words everyone could understand. "The Council orders you to destroy your quantum jump technology and give up all military ships and weapons outside your home solar system." Ambassador Juwu stood still, her face showing no emotion. No one could tell what she was thinking, but secretly, she was already sending messages back to Earth faster than anyone thought possible. The Council had finally revealed what they really wanted. "The Terran Empire will think about what you've asked," she said calmly, already knowing Earth would never agree. After the meeting, Juwu walked quickly down the shining hallway of the Council station. Her assistant Hyunwoo fell into step beside her. "They're scared of us," Hyunwoo whispered. "After just 50 years in space." Juwu nodded slightly. "Fear makes them dangerous. We need to prepare." Back in her private chambers, Juwu activated the secure communication system. The face of General Minjae appeared on the screen, his expression grim. "I heard," he said before she could speak. "The ultimatum we expected has come. How ready are we?" Juwu asked. "Operation Thunderbolt can begin in 12 hours. The hidden fleets are in position. Earth Defense Command has raised alert level to maximum." Juwu looked out the window at the massive council ships docked nearby. These aliens had ruled space for thousands of years, keeping younger species weak and dependent. Humans had played along, all while secretly building their strength. "They'll send inspection teams within days," she said. "They expect us to beg for more time or try to hide our technology. And instead, we show them everything. Everything they expect to find, that is." Juwu smiled for the first time that day. That night, as Juwu slept, Council Security Chief Dojin ordered his team to place monitoring devices throughout the human quarters. His 8-fingered hands moved quickly, setting up equipment that could hear through walls and detect energy signatures. "Humans are predictable," he told his assistant. "They'll panic, try to hide their weapons, maybe even attack. Then we'll have our excuse to put them back in their place." 2 levels below, undetected by Council scanners, Hyunwoo met with the ambassadors from 7 other young species. The Navier with their blue skin, the 4-armed Rami, the gentle plant-like Sojin, and others all faced the same threats from the Council. "Humans aren't alone in this fight," said the Navier ambassador. "We've hidden our true progress too. When you move, we move with you." The next morning, Council warships surrounded Earth's solar system. On Mars, deep underground, Admiral Junho watched the enemy ships on his screens. Beside him stood President Kyungmin, who had traveled secretly from Earth. "They've positioned exactly where we predicted," Junho said, "blocking all normal travel routes." "And our quantum jump ships?" asked the president. "Hidden and ready. They have no idea we can bypass their blockade completely." President Kyungmin looked at the battle plans one last time. "Humanity didn't want this fight. We tried peaceful cooperation for decades, but the Council never intended to treat us as equals." Back at the Council station, Juwu was brought before the full Council. Thousands of alien representatives looked down at her from rising seats that formed a giant circle. "We have detected your military mobilization," said High Counselor Minho, his voice booming through the chamber. "This confirms our fears. Humans are too aggressive to join galactic society as equals." Juwu didn't argue. Instead, she checked her watch. Right now, human ships are appearing throughout Council space, not to attack, but to protect. "We've learned about your plans to restrict, control, and eventually disarm all younger species." Gasps and angry shouts filled the room. Tahoe jumped to his feet. "Lies. The Council protects the galactic peace by keeping some races weak and others strong," Juwu replied calmly. "We found your secret archives. We know the truth, and we're not the only ones." At that moment, representatives from 12 other young species stood up from their seats. The council chamber erupted in chaos. On Earth, citizens watched their screens as news spread quickly. The Galactic Council's true nature had been revealed. Humanity's secret preparations for this day had paid off. Their quantum jump technology, hidden from council inspectors for years, now allowed Earth ships to appear anywhere, anytime. "We don't want war," said President Kungmin in a worldwide broadcast, "but we won't surrender our right to protect ourselves and develop our own path." Today, the Terran Empire stands with other free species against council control. As the sun set over major cities, people looked up at the night sky with new understanding. The stars weren't just beautiful lights anymore. They were the backdrop for humanity's greatest challenge, and perhaps its greatest triumph. Ambassador Juwu, now under house arrest in her council quarters, smiled as she received one last secret message. Operation Thunderbolt successful. All ships in position. The council's ultimatum has failed. Admiral Doyun walked slowly through the huge underground base hidden beneath Mars' biggest mountain. His footsteps echoed in the vast space as he looked at the rows of warships ready for battle. The alien council only knew about a tiny part of what humans had built here. "They think they've seen our strength," Doyun said to Captain Jinwoo, who walked beside him. "They've seen nothing." Workers rushed around them, checking systems and loading supplies. Red emergency lights flashed along the walls. The time for hiding was over. "Show me the Artemis fleet," Doyun ordered. Captain Jinwoo led him to a massive viewing platform overlooking an underground hangar that stretched for miles. 76 sleek warships sat in perfect formation, their black hulls absorbing the light. "The pride of Earth," Jinwoo said. "Each one can jump anywhere in the galaxy in seconds using the quantum drives." Doyun nodded, and the council would kill to get this technology. The quantum drives were more than just engines. They changed how space itself worked. The council had known about this science for thousands of years, but kept it secret from younger species like humans. They wanted to stay in control. Lieutenant Minna approached with a datapad. "Admiral, all ships report ready. The Jupiter defense grid is online. Our factories on Titan are making quantum mines at full speed. Any sign the council suspects our real strength?" Doyun asked. "No, sir. Their ships are still watching the decoy bases we let them find." Doyun smiled for the first time that day. For 20 years, humans had shown the council exactly what they expected to see: a developing species following all the rules. Meanwhile, secret bases like this one were built throughout the solar system. Deep in the command center, Doyun met with his top officers. Maps of the galaxy filled the screens around them, with council territories marked in red. 5 years ago, our spies found something important, Doyun said, bringing up images of ancient alien text. The council's secret archives. They've been holding back dozens of species, not just humans. They classify worlds as emerging and then limit their growth. Major Sungho nodded. "That's when we started Operation Prometheus." "Yes," said Doyun, named after the figure from human myth who stole fire from the gods and gave it to people. "We're about to steal the council's power and share it with every species they've kept down." On a nearby screen, they watched a live feed from the council station, where Ambassador Juwu was being held. The aliens were arguing about what to do with Earth. "They still believe they have the upper hand," said Doyun. "That will change very soon." In the ship preparation area, pilot Young-mi checked her quantum fighter one last time. Her small, one-person craft could appear and disappear instantly, making it perfect for the mission ahead. "Nervous?" asked her wingmate Hook. "A little," she admitted. "We've trained for this day, but now it's real. We're about to challenge the most powerful group in the galaxy." "Remember why we're doing this," Huck said. "My grandfather told me stories about the first contact with the council. They seemed so friendly, offering to help humanity join galactic society. But there were always rules, always limits on what technology we could develop. Yummy nodded. My mother worked in their science exchange program. She said council scientists would get nervous whenever humans came up with new ideas. Now we know why. Across the base, teams prepared for the operation. Engineers checked the quantum drives one last time. Medical staff set up field hospitals. Communication officers tested secure channels. In his private office, Do-hyun looked at a photo of Earth taken from space. Everything they had built here was to protect that blue planet. The Council had underestimated human determination. Admiral, his computer announced, President Kummin is calling. The President's face appeared on screen. Is everything ready, Admiral? Yes, Madam President. Operation Prometheus can begin on your command. She took a deep breath. The Council has rejected our last diplomatic offer. They demand we surrender all advanced technology and accept their direct control of our government. As we expected, said Do-hyun. Then we have no choice. The Council leaves us no path but resistance. The President looked tired but determined. You have my authorization to begin. Do-hyun returned to the command center where his staff waited. The room fell silent as he entered. The time has come, he announced. In 1 hour, our ships will quantum jump to every major council world simultaneously. Not to attack, but to show we can go anywhere, anytime. They thought their ultimatum would force us to surrender. Instead, it will be the beginning of their downfall. He looked at the faces around him, human faces that carried the hopes of Earth. Begin Operation Prometheus, he ordered. Let's change the galaxy. Throughout the massive underground base, alarms sounded. Pilots ran to their ships. The giant doors of the launch bays started to open. The Council's ultimatum had failed. Humanity's response was about to begin. High Counselor Minho sat in his special floating chair in the Grand Council control room. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly as emergency messages came in from all across space. His long fingers gripped the armrests tightly. This cannot be happening, he said, his voice shaking. Show me again. His assistant Jae-hee touched the control panel. The big screen showed the same shocking images from 100 different council worlds. Human ships had appeared out of nowhere, hovering over major cities and space stations. How? Minho demanded. How did they do this? We took away their advanced drive plans. We limited their research. Jae-hee looked down at her datapad. They found a way, sir. The humans have mastered quantum jumping. They can move ships instantly across any distance. Minho stood up suddenly, his tall, thin body shaking with anger. This technology is forbidden. We keep it restricted even from level 2 species. Around them, other council members were shouting into their communication devices. Some were ordering their homeworlds to prepare for war. Others were calling for immediate surrender. Sir, said Jae-hee quietly, the human ships aren't attacking. They're just waiting. On the main screen, they could see a human battleship hanging in space above the Council's most sacred world, Dralid Prime. It was massive, black as night, with glowing blue lines along its hull, but its weapons remained silent. Instead, every human ship was broadcasting the same message on all channels. The Terran Empire rejects the Council's ultimatum. We have demonstrated our capability to appear anywhere, at any time. We seek neither conquest nor dominion, only our rightful place as equals. The era of council suppression ends today. Minho collapsed back into his chair. They want equality. Impossible. They're barely 200 years into space travel. The Drelid have guided the galaxy for 12,000 years. Commander Shunho of the Council Defense Force rushed into the room. High Counselor, we need to strike now while we can. Our fleets are ready. Attack them. They're everywhere at once. Minho shouted. If we fire on one ship, they could destroy 100 of our worlds before we blink. The room fell silent as everyone realized the truth. The Council had lost its greatest advantage. The ability to control who had what technology. Jae-hee's datapad beeped with a new alert. Her face went pale as she read it. "Sir," she said, her voice barely a whisper, "we're detecting more ships, not human ones." On the screens, new vessels appeared alongside the human ships. Strange designs, unknown configurations. "What is this?" Minho asked. "The Navier ships, sir, and Raimi vessels, and the Lothari, the Sentinel." Jehi's voice grew more confused with each name. "These are all level 1 species. They shouldn't have space travel, let alone warships." Minho sank deeper into his chair as the terrible truth became clear. They'd been helping each other. All these primitive races we've been controlling. They've been working together in secret. On another screen, a human woman in a military uniform appeared. "This is Admiral Sora of the Terran Defense Force. We speak now for the Alliance of Free Worlds. 17 species who have chosen to stand together against Council oppression." Commander Junho looked at the displays in horror. 17 species, with quantum jump technology. They'd surrounded every Council world. In the private Council chambers, the oldest and most powerful members gathered to discuss their options. For thousands of years, they had maintained power by keeping advanced technology from younger species. Now their control was crumbling. "We should destroy them now," shouted Councillor Tayo, slamming his hand on the table. "Show them what real power is." "With what?" asked Councillor Yunji calmly. "Our ships can't catch theirs. They can appear inside our defense shields. Face the truth, they have us surrounded." On Earth, in the underground command center, President Kungmin watched the Council's reaction on multiple screens. Beside her, Admiral Do-hyun monitored the positions of their ships. "They're panicking," Do-hyun observed, "just as we predicted." The President nodded. "And our allies, all in position. The Navier and Raimi fleets are protecting our flanks. The Lothari have deployed their sensor nets to watch for any surprise attacks." Back in the Council headquarters, Minho received the worst news yet. "Sir," said Jehi, "we're getting reports that Council member worlds are receiving data packages from the humans. They're sharing the quantum technology plans with everyone. It's spreading across the galaxy." Minho closed all 4 of his eyes. The Council had held power by keeping secrets. Now those secrets were being given away freely. "Get me the human ambassador," he said finally. "We need to negotiate." As the crisis entered its 6th hour, the galaxy held its breath. The Council, which had ruled for 12,000 years, faced a choice: adapt to a new reality or fight a war they couldn't win. On the human flagship, Admiral Sora looked out at the stars. "We didn't want war," she said to her crew. "We just wanted freedom. The freedom to grow, to learn, to explore without limits." The Council had made a fatal mistake. They had seen humans as just another species to control. They never understood that when cornered, humans didn't just fight back. They changed the rules of the game entirely. And now, the game had changed forever. Ambassador Juwu walked into the Great Council chamber with her head held high. 3 days had passed since human ships had appeared all over Council space. Now, the once proud Council members watched her nervously as she took her place at the speaker's platform. The room looked different now. The raised seats where the ancient races had looked down on others were now level with everyone else. It was a small change that meant everything. "For 50 years, we tried to be good Council members," Juwu began, her voice clear and strong. "We followed your rules. We accepted your limits on our science. We believed your promises of equality someday." The alien faces watching her showed many emotions: fear, anger, confusion. Some looked away, unable to meet her eyes. "But we found your secret files," she continued. "We learned the truth. There was never going to be equality. Some races would always be emerging or developing, or whatever term you use to keep them weak." High Councillor Minho shifted in his seat. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "These accusations are unfair. The Council has maintained peace for 12,000 years." "Peace for whom?" asked Juwu. The 17 worlds who joined our alliance tell different stories. Stories of being held back, of having discoveries taken away, of watching their best scientists disappear when they learn too much. She touched a small device on her wrist. Above the central platform, a glowing display appeared. It showed complex equations and diagrams. "Do you recognize these?" she asked the room. Many council members gasped. Some stood up in alarm. "These are the quantum displacement equations," Zhu explained. "The science that lets ships move instantly across space. According to your rules, humans shouldn't discover this for another 500 years. Councillor Tahoe jumped to his feet. "This is forbidden knowledge. Shut down that display immediately." "No," said Zhu firmly. "No more secrets. No more forbidden knowledge." She touched her device again. The display changed to show more equations, more diagrams, anti-gravity technology, clean energy production, extended life treatments, all things your council has kept from lesser races for thousands of years. In the viewing gallery, representatives from other alliance worlds nodded in agreement. The Navier ambassador with his blue skin, the four-armed Rami leader, the plant-like Sojin queen, all had suffered under council restrictions. "We don't want to destroy the council," Zhu said, her voice softening. "We want to transform it, make it truly fair, make it open." She outlined the human proposal. A new organization where all species had equal votes, where research was shared openly, where no technology could be restricted. "The Terran Coalition offers this new path," she finished. "A galaxy where knowledge flows freely, where progress benefits everyone, where ancient wisdom works alongside fresh ideas." The room erupted in voices. The oldest council races shouted angrily. The Dralid, who had ruled for 12,000 years, could not imagine giving up their power. The Zenith, with their control of rare metals, feared losing their wealth. But other voices rose too. Younger council races who had felt the sting of discrimination. Mid-level species who had been promised equality that never came. Councillor Jinsu of the Taylor race, only admitted to the council 300 years ago, stood to speak. "I support the human proposal," he said boldly. "My people have waited too long for full access to council science. We are tired of being told not yet, and maybe someday." Others joined him. One by one, representatives stood to support the new plan. Not just allies of Earth, but council members themselves. High Councillor Minho watched in dismay as his control slipped away. For 10,000 years, his race had led the council. How could it end like this? "You don't understand what you're doing," he warned. "Some knowledge is restricted for good reason. Some races aren't ready for advanced technology." Ambassador Zhu faced him directly. "Who decides who is ready? You? Based on what? We reject the idea that any species has the right to limit another's growth." From her private office on Earth, President Kungmin watched the council debate via secure transmission. Beside her sat Admiral Doyun, still ready to order their ships to fight if needed. "Will it work?" asked the president. "Will they accept a new way after 12,000 years of the old one?" "Some will fight it," said Doyun. "But look at how many are supporting Zhu. They'd been waiting for this chance." Back in the council chamber, the debate raged for hours. Old powers fought to maintain control. Younger races pushed for change. The division grew clearer with each speaker. Finally, Zhu raised her hand for silence. "The universe is too big, too full of wonders, for any one group to control," she said quietly. "Humans don't want to replace you as rulers. We want to end the very idea that some should rule while others follow." She touched her device one last time. The display showed not equations now, but images from across the galaxy. Worlds working together, ships of different designs flying side by side. The alliance of free worlds. "Choose to join us in building something new," she said, "or cling to the old ways and be left behind. But know this, the age of secrets is over." As the council session ended, nothing was resolved. But something had changed forever. The spell of council authority was broken. A new path had been shown. And across the galaxy, races that had never dared to dream of equality began to hope. The great hall of the Galactic Forum gleamed in the light of Ta Siti's twin suns. The building itself told a story. Circular with no high spots or special seats, its walls made of clear material that let the stars shine through. This was a place built for equals. Secretary General Juwu looked out at the gathered representatives with quiet pride. 1 year ago, she had been just Ambassador Juwu, facing the angry council with Earth's ultimatum. Now she stood before a very different gathering. Friends from across the stars, she began, her voice carrying to all corners of the room. Look at what we have built together in just 1 year. 500 different species filled the chamber. Some looked almost human. Others were as different as life could be. Beings of crystal, of gas, of pure energy. All had equal voice here. The old council told us this day would bring chaos, Juwu continued. They said some races weren't ready for advanced technology. They predicted war and destruction if knowledge was shared freely. She smiled and gestured to the peaceful gathering. Instead, we found cooperation. We found friendship. We found that when you treat others as equals, they rise to meet you. In the front row sat representatives from worlds that had been labeled primitive by the council, worlds that would have waited thousands of years for full membership under the old system. Now they helped lead important committees and shared their unique knowledge. At the back of the room, Admiral Doyun washed carefully. His uniform was simpler now, but he still carried the responsibility of Earth's defense. The human ships that had once appeared over council worlds now formed a protective network around Alliance space. We remain watchful, he told his aide. Young Captain Minji. Not everyone has accepted the new way. Minji nodded. The deep council worlds still refuse to join. They've closed their borders completely. Their choice, said Do-yun. But we keep our defenses ready, just in case. On the main floor, Juwu activated the central display. It showed the growing network of quantum transportation hubs that connected member worlds. The technology that had sparked this revolution was now shared openly. Travel that once took years now takes moments, she explained. Medicines that once saved thousands now save millions. Energy that was once scarce is now abundant. This is the power of shared knowledge. In the Earth section, President Kungmin watched with quiet satisfaction. Earth could have used its technological advantage to become the new rulers of space. Many had pushed for exactly that. Instead, they had chosen a harder path. True partnership. Any regrets? Asked Vice President Shunho beside her. None, said Kungmin firmly. Power that depends on keeping others weak isn't real power. It's just fear wearing a crown. After the main session, representatives gathered in smaller groups. Species that had once been bitter enemies now worked together on shared problems. The Navier and the Lothari, who had fought for centuries under council rule, now led the Environmental Restoration Committee together. In a quiet corner, High Elder Minho of the Dralid, once the most powerful being in the galaxy, approached Juwu. I must admit, he said, his 4 eyes blinking slowly, that some of my predictions were wrong. Your cooperative functions better than I expected. Juwu nodded politely. Change is never easy, especially after 12,000 years of the old way. But understand this, Minho added, leaning closer. Not all former council worlds share my view. Some still believe the old ways were better, safer. We know, said Juwu. That's why our ships remain ready. Peace requires both openness and strength. That evening, as the twin suns set, Admiral Doyun and Secretary General Juwu stood on the observation deck looking out at the stars. 1 year ago, the council gave us an ultimatum, said Doyun. Surrender your technology or face destruction. They never understood us, Juwu replied. They thought humans would either submit or fight directly. They never imagined we would change the entire system. It's what humans do best, said Doyun with a smile. When the rules are unfair, we don't just play better. We create new rules. Below them, representatives from hundreds of worlds mingled freely, sharing stories and ideas. Species that had never met under the old council now work together on great projects. We still have far to go, said Juwu. Trust builds slowly. Old fears die hard. But we've started something new, Do-Yun replied. Something better. As darkness fell, the lights of ships could be seen moving through space around them. Not just human vessels now, but ships from all member worlds, each with their own designs, their own special abilities. Together, they formed a defense network stronger than anything the old council had built. The council's ultimatum had failed not because humans were stronger in weapons or numbers. It had failed because humans had found another path, one that turned potential enemies into allies and built strength through sharing rather than hoarding. What began as Earth's desperate stand against extinction had become the galaxy's new beginning. And among the stars, countless worlds that had never dared to hope for equality now looked to the future with new eyes. The end